Hey, so this video is going to be a little bit different than previous videos on my channel. Last week, a friend of mine named John Pyle, he said he was going to be doing a Jeff Beck tribute concert at the Supper Club Music Box in Cleveland, Ohio, and that's about the 25th time I've had to record this, trying to remember the name of that place. But he said he was going to be doing a Jeff Beck tribute concert there, and he asked me to tag along and help him load out his gear at the end of the night, and mostly just hang out. And I got to watch the show for free, so I figured, yeah, why not? But a couple days after he asked me to tag along, he said, why don't we do a gear walkthrough and a brief interview? And I thought, that's a really good idea. So I decided to put it on my channel. I hope you enjoy. Also, on a side note, this venue is really nice, but it's in Cleveland, and I guess Cleveland has a problem with dead fish. Yeah, that was interesting. Anyway, stay tuned to the end of this video. I'm going to have a brief conclusion, and I'm going to give you an idea of what's coming up down the line on this channel. Thanks. Hey, I'm here with John Pyle at the Music Box Supper Club in Cleveland, Ohio. He is doing a Jeff Beck tribute concert, and we're going to do a quick rundown of the guitars and amps and pedals he's using today. How's it going, man?
Good, man. Yeah, thanks for doing this.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what you got there?
Yeah, so this is it's a custom shop 59 Les Paul, but it's a Leroy Parnell model. So
Nice.
I mean, you're a player, so I mean, as you know, like it's tough finding a Les Paul that you really kind of dig.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been through literally thousands in my career, and this one I connected with. So yeah, it's big fat ball bat of a neck. Acoustically, it's really big. Yeah, it's one of the few that I've sounded like. You hear him out there? He's a ridiculous singer, Guy Snowden. If you haven't checked out Guy Snowden, he's a ridiculous singer. He's great. Yeah, it sounds like big fat single coils. You
Nice,
know, which
nice.
is it's the best Paul that I've played.
And those are his signature pickups, or?
These are actually, and I'm sorry, Gibson, I'm not a big fan of Gibson pickups, but these are the classic 57s.
Oh, okay.
They still sound pretty good in this. And like we were talking earlier, I don't want to spend the $1,100, for the Ron Ellis signature Leroy's, which we've all gone down that rabbit hole. So I will probably eventually buy those $1,100, but I'm not spending it now. But yeah, they come across really, really well. They're a little bit sharp, I think. A little lacking in mid range, which is odd to say for Les Paul, but all in all, I mean, it's still, I can use it for about everything, about every gig. It's a big fat telly with the Les Paul, so yeah, it's a great all around Les Paul.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And what songs are you doing tonight?
So I'm the featured guitar player tonight on Because We Ended as Lovers, Hammerhead, and Rollin' and Tumblin', and then I am the rhythm player on about 2/3 of the rest of the show.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is only gonna make, I originally had a whole idea where I'm gonna bring out the Strat, I'm gonna bring out the Telly, I'm gonna bring, like one for every era. And then the next guitar that we'll get up to, I brought that out to rehearsals and it literally covered everything. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna bring that one. And the Les Paul is only gonna make an appearance, I think, for the encore where all the guitar players are on stage playing together. So, so this one is gonna be on, what are we doing for the encore? Going Down and I don't know, a couple other tunes, but yeah, so it's big and thick and nobody else is playing a Les Paul. Most everybody else is playing something Strat or, Butch has got the PRS, but.
It's nice that it has the brown back. Most of them are red. It's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a fan of the red backs, and I've passed up a lot of them with the red backs. I even prefer the black backs over, from like some of the gold tops and stuff. But yeah, this one was really nice. The wood grain is really interesting. You probably can't see that on there, but it's got the dark stripe coming down it, and yeah, I mean, it's really just all in all, like it's a really.
You left the pots alone too.
Yeah, but these actually came, I think, with the original capacitors, and I think it's actually got the cloth wiring. I mean,
Okay.
Leroy actually, you check it out online and actually watch the YouTube videos. I mean, they've done a really amazing job with making this a pretty accurate period correct 59. And I don't know if the original 59s are this way, but his are the actual pickup cavity is only cut down so far to where these pickups are direct mounted on a ledge inside of it. So they're not actually floating like most other Pyles. It's literally direct mounted.
So it's like a 335.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, so I mean the sustain on it is amazing, and you'll hear it tonight. The sustain on it is it'll start feeding back if you give it a chance. You know what I mean? It'll
Nice.
just ring forever. So yeah, I feel pretty good about this one, man. This is, I don't know that I'll be buried with it, but I'll have it a long time. You know? Yes, it's a good one.
All right, so that's that guitar.
Yeah,
What's
let's
this
swap
bad
them
boy?
out. This is one that I do not own. My buddy Rich Rankin, who runs James Tyler guitars with Jim Tyler, we were talking on the phone, and I told him that I had this gig coming up, and we were talking about, you know, him potentially building me one. I said, man, they're so damn expensive. Like, I haven't played one, you know, in a long time. He's like, man, why don't I just send you one? You know? So he generously sent me the Dan Huff model.
And that's his signatures on it?
That's his, yeah, the Dan Huff signature on it. Really, as far as, I don't know that this guitar would ever be my primary guitar, but I would have one other guitar as a primary guitar and this to do literally everything else on the planet. I mean, it is with all the series parallel switches.
Yeah, run through what those switches do.
Yeah, so basically, these are actual humbuckers. They're just stacked.
Okay.
So the actual buttons, you know, for each pickup, it basically reroutes them, you know, the actual signal through. And it's amazing. So you listen to a lot of the old, like Landau and Luke, and like, you know, all those 80s, the real thin, super chimey, just beautiful, clean parts. People are like, man, I don't know how to get those. Like, this is how to get it. This is really the only way to really get it, you know? It sounds so amazing. And I found out, I guess, kind of how amazing it was when we were in rehearsals for this show. And a lot of the other guys, when we're playing, you know, we've got keys, electric violinist, of course, bass, there's another guitar player. And in times, whenever we have the whole big jam, there are 4 guitar players on stage. So I actually literally just, I play this, what was it, Oil? Just tune off the Loud Hailer record called Oil that we're playing. And Sam, the other guitar player, was playing his Strat, and he was taking up a lot of the funk frequencies. So I played this single line on that. So I literally just kind of kicked it up in the 4th position and popped this up to I know I'm gonna mess this up, Rich, I'm sorry, but basically thin this out. And it set perfectly in the mix. It set perfect, and literally everyone in the room turned around because they heard it. So it went from it being mush to literally carving out its own frequency spectrum. It was just phenomenal. So, and I do that through several different songs, depending on what I'm playing. But you know, I actually have, you know, a handful of different settings that I use, and including actually adding the Demeter mid-range boost. It's just extremely versatile, man. It's just such a good guitar. Yeah. So I am forever in debt to Rich Rankin for letting me borrow this. I know it's going to end up with me buying one at some point in time, you know, which, you know, that's
the way it goes.
That is the way it goes. So I'm going to get, I'm sure I'll get one of these. And then my buddy Josh actually has one of the Tylers, one of the classics with the hum single with the fat 59 neck. Hands down the greatest guitar I've ever played. It's just phenomenal. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely foresee in the near future me purging a lot of gear and ending up with a couple Tylers, and that's it. So,
do you by chance know what pickups are actually in that?
Oh man, I say they're full stacks. I don't remember the actual stacks that are in these. They are. Yeah, I want to say they're full stacks. I may be wrong on that. You can go online and see.
Okay.
This one, I don't remember. This is Jim's. It's one of his pickups. I'm not sure if it's the secret or I'm not sure. Right? Again, you can take a look and see. But I think Rich was saying that at some point they're going to develop their own stacked humbuckers to go in here, so
Nice.
they're not using, you know, third parties. But yeah, they make ridiculous pickups too. So, you know, the Secret, which I think was the old Landau humbucker on his Burning Water model. Again, that may be wrong, but I believe that's correct. They just make really amazing. They make Ferraris. You know what I mean? They do. They make Ferraris. So, yeah. So,
Nice.
yeah. Thanks, Rich.
All right. So you want to start with the amp or the effects?
Let's do the amp, because
Okay.
the amp, I've been praising that amp forever, and you actually get to hear it a little during
Yeah, it
sound check.
sounds amazing. I like that you had the matching coiler cables too. That was cool.
Everything's got to be purple.
Yeah.
You know, I say as I'm playing bright yellow guitar.
It's not to get off topic, but I
Yeah.
actually just picked up a road worn Telly in purple.
Yeah,
And
those are great.
It has the Danish Pete pickups in it.
Yeah, how is it?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My friend has a purple Pro Junior, and I'm like jonesing for it now, so I can
Everything's got to match. Everything's got to be purple.
I also have a purple Ibanez RG.
Yeah. Oh, those are great. Those are great
Yeah.
guitars. We all kind of started on those.
Anyway, so what amp are you using?
Yeah, no. So it is. Last summer, I used for this country gig that I play. I used a buddy of mine, Josh, had an old original '67 Marshall Super Bass,
Nice.
100 watt, and he let me borrow it, and I played it, and I got absolutely hooked on it. I mean, and you can watch some of the gear reviews on him. Tom Bukovac did his rig rundown, and he said, you know, it's literally the greatest amp ever. And he's right. I mean, he's really right. So the 100 watt Super Bass, it's the biggest, fattest, clean sound. I mean, it's amazing for that, and it takes pedals better than almost anything else that I've ever played. You know, so like out there tonight, one of the things when we get to it, one of the things I have on there is a Klon. I've never been able to get it to sound like a Klon and do what a Klon does until I plugged it into that and turned it up. I'm like, oh, that's what a Klon sounds like. You know what I mean? It's a whole different thing. Otherwise, it's basically just it's a clean boost. You know what I mean? It's not, it doesn't do the Klon thing. So, anyway, I got hooked on that, and I started, you know, asking around to different folks to, you know, hey, can you build me one of these? You know, I talked to John Sir and, you know, a handful of other folks, Germino. And I actually connected with Mitch Colby, and I can't say a whole lot of stuff because but whenever this airs, I'm sure he's probably still not going to have it out yet. But he's working on something super special.
Yeah, you were telling me about it a little bit.
Yeah, so, and he said, hey, look, I've got all the stuff right here for 6800 watt Super Bass. So he was like, yeah, and I've got nothing to do right now. So I was like, man, build me one of those. So he got the whole chassis put together. And, you know, and we worked out some of the specs, and it's got a lot of bells and whistles. Actually, I didn't show you on that, but it's got a lot of different bells and whistles and things that it does. But you know, in its stock form with everything off, it's just a stock 100 watt 68 Super Bass, and it's amazing. And he was like, hey, you know, anything else that you want? I was like, yeah, can you do it in purple? You know, so so they got the purple head box. Yeah, and I use it for everything that there's room on the stage for me to use it, you know?
Yeah, what speakers are you running in?
Okay, so the cab, I think I don't know about everybody, but a lot of folks, you'll know about the, you know, Carry Wright cabs. I mean, they're so good, but they're super expensive. And I believe Carry has since passed, but they're really super expensive cabinets. And I heard on the forums that everybody's like, okay, so you should really check out, you know, this guy, Matt Peterson. You know, he's building these cabinets. Well, I called Matt and had a conversation with him. Really, really great guy, really great company. So he builds all my cabs now. So the cab that I'm running tonight is the offset 212 cab, open back cab of his. And we actually got I want to say it's a V, they're both warehouse speakers. Somewhere I like warehouse speakers, but one of them is a V30, and I'm not sure which order, which is top or bottom, but one's a V30 and one is an ET65.
Nice.
So yeah, so it's a big full sounding cabinet. It's open back, you know, so you get that whole standing in the vortex, you know, swirling. Yeah, but Matt makes amazing cabinets. So he builds all my cabinets now. So I've got a 410 open back tweed cab that he built me as well. He's actually building a 412 open back in purple to match the.
There you go.
Yeah, to match the Colby. So, yeah. So that's the amp that I'm running tonight, which is I feel pretty happy about it, man. It's big. And
When you go to James Tyler, is it gonna be purple too?
One of them will be. Yeah, one of them definitely will be. I love their schmears. He's got one called Alien Guano that's got a lot of purple, and yeah, look that one up. That's a cool color. Yeah, it'll definitely have a lot of purple.
Have you by chance had a chance to try the Paul Reed Smith Hendrix amp?
I haven't tried that one.
Because I know he was saying it's like a super bass combined with a JTM 45, I believe.
Yeah, and I played. There is one of Paul's. Well, there are a few amps of Paul's that I really like. One of them that I almost got, and I was this close. And I thought, man, I should get one of those. And then, of course, talking to the angels and devils on my shoulder, the one. A buddy of mine, again, Josh, who I always kind of bounce it off of. He's like, man, you like the 100-watt super bass. Just get the 100-watt super bass, So either find an original and have it kind of rebuilt, or have somebody build you a stock one. But the PRS amp that I really, really like is the HXDA.
Okay.
So it's I guess it was sort of the first version of like the newer Hendrix.
Right. Yeah.
But it's got the Hendrix on one switch and the Dwayne Allman on the other, right? So it's got the brake caps basically you swap out.
Derek Trucks used them for a while, I think, right?
Derek used them for a while. Yeah, Derek used, I know Dave Grissom, like that was one of the ones that Dave used a lot before he came out with his signature amp. I think that and the Dallas one that Warren Haynes used a bunch. Yeah, it's a really good amp. I mean, it's really versatile if you want the super lead or super bass, which is the flip of the switch. So
sweet.
Yeah, 1500 watts. Those are really, really good. And they're in Paisley too. You can find them.
I'm an Eric Johnson fanboy, so I want the 25th anniversary PRS amp.
Yeah.
It's based on one of his Plexis, I think.
Yeah, and I think that may have been, was that one of the Dallas or I forget the lineage of the PRS amps, but one of those, I don't know if it was the Dallas or one of those was actually up where they cloned. Yeah,
it was the 25th anniversary.
Was it? Yeah, yeah. As soon as you get it, man, let me know. We'll come over and play it.
There's one on Reverb for about 3,000 right now.
Yeah,
so.
that's a pretty good deal for that, man. You should snatch that up.
Maybe.
It's easy to say for me. You should spend the $3 grand and snatch that up. Yeah.
So what pedals are you running through then?
You know what? The pedal board is really simple tonight. I mean, really, really bone simple. Jeff didn't use a whole lot of pedals, and I didn't go down the actual route of, I came close, but I didn't go down the route of, I need a rat, and I need this. So the only thing that really is on my board tonight as far as drive is I've got the Klon, the KTR, and then I've got the Duelist. So it seems like every gig that I have, that I've had now for a long time, Jesse Davies stuff is on there. It's always.
We're hogging up some people's space, so they had to come in and grab something real quick. But you're talking about the King Tone Duelist.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Jesse Davies fan, so all the King Tone stuff. I've got a lot of his pedals, and depending on the gig, it will have various of his pedals on there. I've always got the King Tone on it, always. And no matter what I'm doing, it always seems like I will just default to the King Tone. If something's not going right on the gig, if there's some quirk, something weird happens, the King Tone is always there. You know what I mean? Like it's all, yeah. So those are the two drive pedals. So the Klon and the King Tone. And then I've got Mike McConna, I believe is the way you pronounce it. I've been bugging him for the last couple years almost to build one of his McWaws. And again, that was a Jesse Davies referral too. So Jesse was like, yeah, these are the baddest walls on the planet. So I was bugging Mike about it, and through COVID and even before, like he didn't really make that many, and they're really expensive on Reverb. So I've been bugging him, and he shot me an email over Christmas saying, hey man, I got 9 enclosures. I know you've been wanting one for a while. Do you want one? I was like, hell yeah, I want one. So he hand wired it and sent it over, and all of the rest of my walls are for sale. Like it's the greatest wah I've ever played. So it's the McWah. So that's on there. A buddy of mine, Justin Butler, down in Nashville, mods the Ernie Ball Jr. volume pedals to make them active. So that's on there. It's really, really great. And then I've got the little Boss tuner, and then 2 H9s, and it's like it's like using a Ferrari to run to the store to get groceries. You know what I mean? Like they do everything in the world, and I got one set up for a basic reverb and one set up for a basic delay, and that's it for this gig. You know, so yeah, it's really simple. So I don't have a rat on here, but I've set up the soloist side, which is the tube screamer side, basically of the Duelist, to kind of be ratty, because the new one actually has all the dip switches on the side where you can do the symmetrical and asymmetrical clipping and all that. So that one's set up just to be a little bit nastier than I would normally run it. And then the heavy hand side, which is the smoother side, is set up to be a little creamier for the custom images lovers, a lot of the singing melody lines. So that's it, man. It's pretty basic mishmash of cables, everything from Ernie Ball to Lava to Mogami, plugging them all in together. It's what Ray actually happened to have laying around it.
Gotcha.
To have that fit.
So what's the benefit to having the active volume rather than the passive?
You know what? My favorite part about it is it's got a little blue light in it. Honestly, it lights up. He's actually got. There's an actual trim pot on it, and I forget exactly what he said, but it's almost like he put a. Almost like an EP booster or some type of exotic, and it's not an actual exotic booster, but it's almost like a boost circuit in it, where it's really quiet, it's not scratchy. I mean, it's really heavy duty, so he's done a lot of modifications to it, but it's got a little pot on it that you can kind of dial it in depending on, are you using single coils, or you're using, I think you pretty much always leave it just pretty much right up the middle, but it's really quiet, it's really super sturdy. And I can't miss it with my big feet, man. I throw them down there and it's always there, you know what I mean?
There you
go. I can't break it. And like I said, my favorite part, it's got a little blue light. The old board lights up with a little blue light from it. So
were you just going for like a Jeff Beck vibe rather than specific tones?
Yeah. I mean, I looked. Everybody else on the stage is pretty much running. I mean, you saw it. Everyone else is pretty much running, deluxes. Butch is actually running the jazz chorus, which somehow he makes sound really good. You know what I mean? Somehow he makes it sound really good. I can't do that. But so I decided on my side to actually run the EL34s, instead of the 6L6. And so I decided to run more of a throaty vibe, just so it actually had that frequency kind of eaten up on stage, where everybody else is running their deluxe. And I know Tom's got that really amazing deluxe that Alessandro wired for him. That thing sounds incredible. But it takes up its own set of frequencies with that too.
Right.
And the EL34 wasn't really represented. And there's a lot of the later stuff. Jeff Beck has done the EL34s and the tweets and stuff like that. I didn't have a JTM45. I would like to have had one for this gig. But yeah, the 100-watt super bass. I mean, it does literally everything I wanted to do.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So I have one last question.
Yeah, man.
In preparing for this, do you feel like you learned anything new in learning this Jeff Beck material?
Yeah, I mean, I the thing is, whenever he passed, everybody started posting, like, "Oh, long live the legend! Like, we're gonna miss you, you." And most of those people never posted any pro Jeff Beck stuff before he died, right? So most of them were just jumping on the bandwagon to get likes, and not everybody, but a lot of them. I've always been a big Jeff Beck fan, and I remember when I was younger and went with a couple buddies to St. Louis to the actual Jeff Beck show. It was back when Jennifer Batten was playing with him on the Who Else tour.
Mm-hmm.
He was just so great. Like, it just blew me away. And from then on, like, every time that I would play any guitar with a whammy bar, it was always in my hand or right under my hand. And then I went to Musicians Institute and studied under Scott Henderson, who lives with the whammy bar under his hand, it's always there. And then I started listening to Derek Trucks, and I am a horrible slide player.
But
so
you can mimic it with the...
I can get close, I can get close. So it just seems like every period in my career, everything that I've done, like it's always there, and it always goes back to Jeff Beck. So with this, I've learned to lighten up and not really stay within my lane so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really easy for us as guitar players to to play the things that we've practiced and we've spent our 10,000 hours doing, you know. And it sounds robotic and it sounds stupid and it doesn't sound like music. So
Right.
one of I think the best thing that I've it's sort of reawakened with me from doing this project is, man, just make noises. You know, just wing it. Make some noises and see what happens. Because if you make enough cool noises back to back, the door sort of opens up to something new that you never would have, you know, you never would have walked down that hallway ever before because you never knew the door was there.
Yeah.
But you know, like if I'm sitting up there and I'm playing through basic pentatonic scale, and you know, hitting that as much as I can and making everything warble. Next thing I know, a new melody is just there. You know, and it's not a melody that I would have sang otherwise.
Right.
So yeah, it's just lighten up and stop playing the stuff that you practice. You know what I mean? Just like go and play it, which is, you know, Jeff was the king of that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe he sat around and practiced making noises. I don't know, but he was really great at just playing stuff that just was always musical, but was not stuff you've ever heard before.
Yeah, I saw right after he passed, like the Jeff Beck Strats go double and triple in price. Like nobody wanted these guitars.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know, and I really wanted to try and find one of the reverse headstock ones. Before he actually passed, and I'd been looking, and there was one that was a purple one that had the lace sensors. It was the hum single, and it literally doubled in price overnight. And I was like, God, you gotta be, and it was purple.
I had like it was a navy blue, but it was sort of sparkly that I got from Grun's Guitars.
Yeah.
It was the Strat Plus, which was like the
Yeah.
precursor to the Jeff Beck Strat. I regret selling that
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
I tried to track it back down and like it's gone.
Yeah, it's hard to do once
Yeah.
they're gone, because guys like us, like we'll trade it, and if we don't immediately, you know, connect with it, like it'll be gone within a month, you know. So yeah, it's hard to do that. But
All right, well, thanks for doing the video with me.
brother.
Brother. Great show, man.
Yeah, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yep.
Thank you for sticking through to the end. This is just going to be a brief conclusion. I wanted to say thank you to John for inviting me out the other night. I had a really great time, man. I appreciated you doing the interview with me. John is a genuinely nice guy, aside from being one of the best guitar players that I know. He's a genuinely nice guy and a huge gearhead. He's a lot of fun to talk gear with, as you can tell by the interview. So thank you to John. Other than that, I wanted to give a brief description of some videos I have coming up in the works. I have a review of a PRS Santana 10 Top Retro. That will be my next upload, hopefully in the next few days. Other than that, I'm working on a Eric Johnson video and a Peter Green Les Paul tone video. Those two, I'm not sure which one will come out first. I also have some other videos in the works that may or may not come out first, but those are my main focuses as of right now. So thank you to everyone that stuck around. Please subscribe, and I hope you continue to stick around. All right, later.